This morning, we are focusing our Monitoring Men's Health segment on colon cancer. March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah, this topic is especially touching to me, guys, because I beat it, along with a lot of help, 5 years ago. It was quite a thing. Yeah, it was this week, 5 years, and I'll never forget. I was on the radio in the afternoon, and it's so hard to get a hold of doctors and talk to them. And finally got him in the afternoon on the radio, and he said, by the way, this was celebration after my 12th round of chemo from Dr. Rama Suresh there at Siteman Cancer Center. But the doctor you're going to hear from in just a second said, we think it's in your liver too. And we knew it was outside of my colon. And I'll never forget just sitting there going, does that mean stage 4? And he said, yeah. And I couldn't finish, of course, that shift, and what it meant was just a lot of treatment, a lot of love from people. The community was incredible, and the doctors. I never would have expected. I was 45 years old.
Wow. I talked to a lot of people who have been diagnosed with cancer. They get that call the first time around. When you get that call the first time around, devastating. But Absolutely. At what point do you go, okay, doctor, what do we need to do? I mean, is it immediate? Is it a couple of days?
Great question. When you hear that C word, right? Your life is different forever. Doctor's appointments for the rest of your life. I see it all the time. But yeah, there's that moment. It's probably a little different for everyone. The world both speeds up and slows down, and you feel like you're in a dream state. And if you can, and you got great people around you, you say, yeah, let's go. Let's get this thing going right now. But oh yeah, it is a weird thing.
Was there a point where you thought, oh wow, I'm doing well, this is working, I'm going to beat it?
When eventually, after about 4 rounds of chemo, they came to me and they said, we've never seen this, or we haven't seen it very much. They said, we don't think it's in your liver. We think there's something here, maybe just some cells, but we don't think it's in your liver, and that means stage 3. So that was huge. That was absolutely huge. So I did start to feel like it was working at that point.
Okay. Wow. So we see the video of you ringing the bell.
Yes.
Well, to look back at that moment now, 5 years later, is it just like it was yesterday to you?
It seems so long ago, and it seems like yesterday. I know I keep saying those things, but it's just like, I can't believe it has been that long, and that it's in my past. It's in my past now, and I don't have to go back and get a colonoscopy for quite a while, so that's great. I mean, I've just learned over the years, it's a treatable cancer. It's one of the most treatable cancer, along with the prep work you have to do. And so that's a big thing. Real quick, the prep work is what so many people avoid. Okay, so we have it here. You got to take 4 of this laxative, so 4 of these, Dulcolax, and that's not fun, right? Then you got to take 4 of these bottles of water, pour them in a big container, And I know, Rennie, you drink about these every day.
but not all at once.
This is normal Rennie right here. Yeah. And then you take a 230 milligram bottle of Miralax, you pour it all in that, and then you've got to drink that. And then that's when the party starts. You wait, and that's usually the night before.
And no eating.
No eating. Clear
like
liquids the day before that as well. This is that night. And now the prep is easier for some people. Some people, there's a drink you can use, but they still use this as well.
Seeing that, how much does that bring back that time?
There's a stomachache feeling. There's a little bit of a stomachache feeling. And now, luckily, I get to do the little bottles of this foul-tasting solution, but it's not as much liquid. The first time I did it, I used Gatorade. Don't do that. Use water.
But you caught up with the doctor, right?
Yes. And here's what Dr. Much says about the prep. He's with Siteman and Wash U, and he says, there are ways to tolerate the preparation.
There's actually a lot of studies showing that, it's the prep that's the big hurdle to this, and once you sort of get through that, then the exam itself is pretty good. Sometimes just slowing down and not guzzling it all at once and trying to take it in a real short period of time helps. A lot of small little strategies that may make a difference.
So let's take a look now at some of the signs and symptoms that you need to be watching out for Screening age now is 45 years of age. After that, you're considered a high risk. Other symptoms, persistent bleeding, weight loss for absolutely no reason, pain in your lower abdominal area, and family history.
That's one of the big challenges, is that particularly for young people, they don't feel sick, they don't want to be sick, they don't, acknowledge a lot of the sort of, vague, subtle symptoms. 75% of people diagnosed with colorectal cancer don't have symptoms and don't have a family history. So generally, by the time you have symptoms, tends to be sort of a little more, advanced.
I had symptoms and no family history, none of the other triggers, but I did have those symptoms eventually, and oh my gosh.
Well, and I've talked to you over in the Weather and Traffic Center before. You talk about how, like, if you would have caught this earlier, how different your life would be. And I mean, I think that is such a key when it comes to listening to your body. Because I fell off a ladder, months ago?
Yes.
And I didn't go to the chiropractor till like 2 months after that, right? It took me so long to just say, okay, something's not right. You got to go get checked. I mean,
I'm really grateful you brought that up.
Talk about that.
I was 45, exactly at this, and they said it was going to cost like $1,200 to get the colonoscopy because I wasn't 50 yet. They've moved it now, right? And the doctor, not these doctors, another doctor said, well, I don't want you to have to get a colonoscopy, so let's do all these other things. That was about 9 months where this disease was allowed to grow.
So did you even have the thought that I might have cancer enter your mind in the early on, or did you think, oh, just don't feel great or whatever?
You always have that paranoia, right? But I thought it was Crohn's disease because there were some problems there. That's a big one. And by the way, they have just shared that sugary drinks are a big trigger for this now. So that's new research, something to really take note of. And then I got to show you guys, once we wrapped up the interview, I shared a special moment. I got to share a special moment with Dr. Much. Take a look. I want to say you saved my life, buddy, and I thank you. And I know you're not the type of guy to soak that up too well, but I thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's what makes what we do fun and rewarding.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
We're going to hug at
Yeah.
some point later. Give me a hug, baby. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
we
beautiful.
got to hug. We got to
That's
hug.
beautiful. That
Yes,
is
and he's uncomfortable with any of that type of thing, but he's a superstar. People follow him around, and we have some of the best treatment in St. Louis, so get yourself looked at.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy you're here to tell that story. And I mean, think about this story and how many lives you're going to impact, and moving forward, the change that you're going to bring to the community just by sharing your personal story. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Oh, it's just, I'm really grateful to be here.
Well, one day I'm going to be an old man, so, all of these things,
No
this
way.
is the reason we created the men's
Yeah.
health segment. When you're young and you don't have issues, your metabolism starts to slow down, you get older, and then you start to have health issues. I mean, we all have to get old. We all have to pass that way. And so it's great to have the awareness. You always talk about awareness is key, even with your own body.
Keep in mind, one of us is old.
Oh.
That'd be this guy right here. One of the things that I did want to point out before we wrap this up is, your doctor's there, you're there, but it's also that support staff around you that helps you get through, because someone's got to be there during the tough times to keep pushing you forward so you don't give up. How much was your family, friends, just your community vital
and
to
even
your success?
Your faith,
Yes, all of that. And there were pictures earlier of my family. They brought me to chemotherapy. They're older, but they took their son to get the treatment. They supported me, but there's some pictures of some other folks. They were the nurses that gave me chemotherapy, and I'm so glad we got to show them. But then, our church came together like none other. I don't think it would be the same without the family there, and we were in South City. Just amazing people in St. Louis Hills.
Yeah. You know what they say, it takes a village?
Yes.
And in this case, it certainly took a village.
Yes, a whole city. A lot of cities, it seemed like.
So good
good
to have you
doctors.
part of the team, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Yes.